Okay, from the other side. PKG. Humans are seen by the galaxy as the unnerving race that lives in the most hostile and eldritch region of the galaxy. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I've posted this one before, but I can't find it, so I'm reposting it to be part of the ongoing narrative. Did I ever tell you about the time I got invited to hell? I did once, you know. A sapient creature made up of pure hellfire and radiation asked if I wanted to visit his home. Well, myself and the rest of the crew of the distant knowledge. Let me see if I can make you understand how problematic this would have been for us. This was a world where molten dihydrogen monoxide fell from the sky and pooled, ocean-like, over most of the surface of the land. And there was an atmosphere made up mainly of oxygen too, and nitrogen too, so hot that it had been boiled into vapor. Yes, evapor. I am not making this up. Their planet is so close to their star that their life arose from E-carbon compounds, if you can believe it. Worse, they inhale the vaporized oxygen too, and nitrogen too, as a part of their life cycle. It turns my tentacles limp just thinking about it. I personally had trouble with the notion until I learned that their resting temperature is so high that they can melt dihydrogen monoxide at a touch, and in fact choose to ingest it on a regular occasion. It makes up the majority of their circulatory fluids. They do not consider it a mineral so much as a transitory material, more usually seen in its molten state. Oh, if they breathe rock vapor and casually bathe, yes, bathe in molten lava. What, you might ask, do they actually build things out of? The answer to I scared 2 of our scientists so badly that they went puce for 3 whole cycles. You see, these hell creatures are able to easily work materials that are so far down at the bottom of our periodic table that it's just not worth even trying. They can create and utilize compounds containing iron and even in titanium. I swear upon my progenitors, I am not making this up. I don't even want to think about the temperatures involved. Worse, cable also includes the forbidden materials, more of them than we'd ever expected to understand. They are able to handle these materials without exploding. In fact, I'm pretty sure they had samples with them that would have spelled doom to our ship just by coming close to us. So, where did we meet these horror creatures, and how did we get out alive? I'm glad you asked. I was the 2nd assistant astrogation observer on the distant knowledge, investigating a yellow star system. The ferocious radiations of the horrifically active primary threatened to melt our hull and disrupt our systems even from hundreds of millions of Sakari away. In fact, we would not have come so, except that there was a gas giant just on the verge of our safe limit that we could hide behind if exterior temperatures threatened to get too high. The gas giant, as predicted, had a very active magnetic field. But we were well shielded, all hail our engineers, so that was actually the least of our problems. It also had a small but significant ring system, nowhere near as impressive as the next one out, but still interesting. We were charting it, and I was calibrating our backup astrogation sensors when I got a proximity alarm. There had been a heat spike in our near vicinity. Movement, we expected. This was a ring system with moons here and there. Heat was more of a problem. Our systems were handling the star's radiation, but a closer heat source could breach the hull and kill us all without warning. I sounded the alarm, then turned a sensor that way. One of the pieces of the ring, a chunk of ferrous material which I had idly thought possessed an oddly was moving under thrust. Whatever it was using for propulsion sent my temperature gauges off the scale. We were just lucky that it was pointage away from us at the time. Even as I stared at the impossible readouts, the bridge crew reacted and moved us away to a safe distance. The unknown object stopped moving when we evaded them. It was an inanimate object, to be sure, but when I focused all the sensors I had onto it, I could clearly see signs of engineering. If I were not much mistaken, it had sensors as well, and they were trained on VUS. We paused then, and stared at each other. Two ships from cultures previously unknown to one another, encountering each other around a planet that I was sure neither one of us hailed from. Where they were from, what they knew, what they had to say, I had no idea. But I wanted to know. Things got busy then. The scientists commandeered the sensors, searching every inch of the iron rock, as someone dubbed it, for any clue of its origins or intention. We probed it with careful analysis beams, hoping not to provoke it into attacking. Signals were sent along various frequencies. Scientists argued until they were green in the face over the material composition of the thing. Ferrous alloys were impossible to create or work, so we had to be getting false readings. And then, one of the passive sensors picked up a signal originating from the iron rock, on a frequency that we could not only receive but also replicate. We decoded the signal, a simple numeric sequence, and sent an answer back. The excitement that permeated the distant knowledge was palpable. We were making first contact with a brand new culture, the first such in thousands of star cycles. Information began to flow back and forth, in a stream that deepened and widened with each new understanding. I was pressed into service, receiving the messages and passing them on, then recording them to send back. And then we got images, aligning them with a true color image of the gas giant, nicknamed Red Spot for a giant cloud formation, gave us a picture of what these people looked like. They actually looked pretty interesting. Bipedal, which wasn't totally unusual. 2 limbs for ambulation, 2 for manipulation. Skin of a pinkish color that on you or me would indicate violent nausea, but was apparently normal for them. Cutaneous growths on the front and top of the brain case, which was also not unusual. Exterior coverings which suggested they had imperfect internal temperature controls. We arranged for images to be sent back. I was one subject, and I was allowed to wear my graduate honor sash to show them our educational standards. It made me feel extremely strange to know that alien eyes, alien minds, would be examining an image of me. To them, I would represent our species. And then came the most amazing message. They literally invited us to visit their planet. I mean, you know how much of a trust thing that is. Even among the Concordat, member states would spend tens of solar cycles feeling one another out before revealing where their home planets were. But here these people were, literally saying, "Would you like to come visit?" Would we? Of course, we would. Besides, we collected all the data we really needed from this gas giant system. Getting away from that horrifically violent yellow star would make us all a lot happier. In all honesty, we wondered what kind of shielding system the Iron Rock had on board to let them just casually soak up all that deadly radiation without suffering multiple system failures. Their drive thrust should really have been a clue there, but we were too excited to see it for what it was. So we asked them where we would be going. Which star system was host to these new and exciting people? The answer stunned us all. This one, right here. Accompanying the message, just to prove we hadn't misunderstood, we got an image of the star itself, with a sigil pointing at a tiny blue dot off to the side. That was their planet. It was their Rye planet. As far as we were from the system's primary, that planet, we feverishly calculated, had to be at least 80% closer. It was cheerfully orbiting within a raging inferno of solar energies, surviving a hellish radiation bath that would easily destroy the eye-distant knowledge 10 or 20 times over. And these people came from Everay. What were they made of? One of the scientists sent a message. We should have asked this sooner. Added to the message was a request for that very information. In the meantime, we began collating the same data for the reply. You know what we got back. A resting temperature that would melt rocks, a circulatory system that amounted to molten lava, vapor state oxygen and nitrogen as their very breath of life. They were from the very depths of hell, and they had invited us to visit. All in innocence, of course, but that didn't change matters. We would never greet one another face to face, as it were. I would never get to breathe the same atmosphere as the youthful aliens whose images I had received and stared at. Friends we would be, allies even, but never close, never visiting. Well, until now. See, the distant knowledge is shipping out again next week, and some big brain among the scientists had an idea. And so we've decided to go back and see if we can make contact with them again. Each side is going to construct telepresence robots of the other side and visit by proxy in that way. It's going to be clunky and probably won't work nearly as well as they hope it will, but it's a proof of concept. I've been tapped to run one of the robots from our side. I get to wear the suit. I get to walk with humans. Wish me luck.